Scion event of the year begins now. Grand Finals, best of 7. The dust has cleared in the battle between vets versus pros, and only the pros remain. In the mini cup, it was kind of reversed. The pros got blown out, but they are adapting and learning fast. We're gonna start this off on Cerulean Fall. You might recognize the map maker, but if you've been under a rock, Solstice is the lead designer on the Scion custom races, which are featured here today. But enough about that guy, this is about our digital gladiators. I'll apologize in advance, but we gotta dial it up to 11 and do some intros, I think. Our Xayid player, in the red, in the upper right, answers the ancient question, what came first? Was it the chicken or the eggs? Overly cinematic Warhorn, never have you been more desired. Oh, heads up, we've already got contrasting styles here. Xayid's going double den. Keiron's Q and Minerals looking like he's gonna expand. He did go Edifice first though, yes he did. And it's not a proxy, it's just an aggressive opening. I mean, eGGz is droning. Just saying, we probably won't be waiting long before the action starts. In that case, I probably better finish the intros here. Wait, is Gerald expanding or is that a scout? It's a bit of both, let's get to it. Our Keiron player in blue in the bottom left is a dramatic name meaning rule of the spear. He is Gerald! Okay, so while I'm goofing around, eGGz is making a mutagen chamber. I think this is veteran Scion meta. He's skipping the Xayidlings. I think he's going straight into roamers. Roamers do bonus damage against light, and if your Keiron opponent goes for edifice units, volts, or even pariahs, you're gonna be doing bonus damage. Plus, you get the scour ability for that extra scout. It is a very effective Xayid opener, and I shouldn't be surprised that we're seeing it from eGGz. eGGz has done a bunch of training with Magical Cookie. He's gone to the U School of Xayid. Okay, look at this rally. 4 roamers being made all at once. Gerald needs to know about this and he needs to be ready. I think he needs a Sanctum unit or a static defense. And he's got a half minute to do it. Otherwise, he's gonna have to micro like a boss. I always envisioned the roamer as a single scouting unit, but it's really becoming a horde unit that's powerful in clumps. Oh, and the natural's gonna finish. There's not gonna be an opportunity to cancel it. Gerald did not scout, and the chickens are gonna come home to roost. eGGz with his scour to get that high ground vision. He goes right for the Volt. He knows that's the unit he wants to shut down. If the pariah doesn't project, he can just kite it. I think Gerald has to pull the mice at this point. He does, or a partial pull at least. I'm not sure that was enough. He's trying to get Volt speed. He's trying to make another edifice. He's got to buy some time, and he's got to sacrifice workers to do it. eGGz is just kiting like a boss, though. Almost a dozen workers dead already. Oh, and eGGz is reinforcing this. He's got additional units on the way. eGGz is not just doing damage here. He's looking to finish this. He's looking to win. He's taking game 1 by the throat. He's making a statement. My early game is too much for you. This could have reverberations on the whole series. Oh, it's not another roamer. It's a Scorpelisk. Oh, sweet. eGGz puts it in front. He gets it to tank for his roamers. That is just lethal. The converters get hung up on that Scorpelisk. He's gonna kill it, but at this point he's lost over 22 workers. Volt speed's gonna finish, but there's only 1 volt to actually use it. Gerald cancels his second edifice. It's the only way you can get money. GG! eGGz takes game 1 in a decisive, violent display. eGGz has to be happy with that opening game. It went so well, eGGz might feel like he can roamer rush at will. Even if he doesn't repeat the roamer rush, the very threat of it alone will be omnipresent. Omnipresent. Gerald has to game plan for it, and that's going to take him out of whatever it was that he wanted to do. Edifice units just aren't good enough against roamers, at least not without spot-on projects from the pariahs. And eGGz spin on the rush with that added Scorpelisk for tanking is terrific. But I'm sure this isn't the first time Gerald's ever had to adapt to an opponent. Let's see what he does. Remember, he's permitted to use a standard race 1 time this series, 1 time. Does he use it now to try to even things up? Or save it for when he really needs it? Or perhaps save it for a map where he has something special planned? Despite my legendary prognostication abilities, there's just no sense in me guessing. Adjutant, if you would please.
The game begins now.
Alright, game 2 action. I realized I forgot a pretty basic piece of information. I just kind of assumed everybody knew this. When he's not playing in Scion Custom Races tournaments, Gerald is a Protoss player. eGGz is a Zerg player. So there's a little bit of symmetry here. eGGz is playing the Zerg-inspired race, the Xayid. Gerald's playing the Protoss-inspired race, the Keiron. Though I'm often told by people who really delve into the races that it doesn't really feel like its counterpart. For example, in a way, the Keiron has centralized production like a Zerg, and oddly may even be more Zerg-like than the Xayid. Anyway, we want to keep one eye on eGGz's build order here. We want to see if he's going for another roamer rush. I mean, look at that aggressive rally point all the way to his opponent's ramp. I guess the roamer rush, in a sense, isn't really a rush. You could argue it's more of a timing attack. Maybe I'm just splitting hairs with you people, but you don't make units right away. The Xayid player will tech up to the mutagen chamber first. There we go. Second den, no expansion. This is the same thing he did in game 1. I mean, we definitely see roamer rushes before. Very common in XVX. But what I kind of dig is that he adds a Scorpelisk in there. Oh, Gerald goes for the Citadel. An expansion did not help his cause last game. Part of the problem with the roamer rush timing is that the Citadel actually finishes before the roamers come, so he can't cancel it. Just kind of sits there being useless, which is kind of the brilliance of the timing attack. There's the mutagen chamber. I'm a little bit surprised that Gerald didn't scout again. I mean, to my mind, the only reason not to scout is if you're gonna assume that the attack is coming. But he's expanding, so that's not really what he's doing. So you can see eGGz has got larva and he's got money, but he's not using it. He's waiting for that mutagen chamber to finish. Only then can he make a roamer. He can make Xayidlings, but they're not gonna have the bonus damage that he craves for the situation. Chamber's done, here we go. 3 roamers in production. I think a 4th one follows as soon as he gets the money. Bam, there it is. And so we're looking at another potential short game again. Then I'd better quickly mention we are on the map, Deathara. This is one of my all-time favorite maps. I'm just gonna go ahead and pretend it's in the map pool because Zugzwang Starcraft was a tournament sponsor. Okay, here's an adjustment by Gerald. He's not making a second edifice. Instead, he's making a second sanctum. Pulsars would be very helpful for holding this. He's also adding a foundry. I don't quite get that yet. An Umbra would be good against the Scorpelisk, but I feel like units would be most valuable right now. Because eGGz is already on his doorstep. The OG 3 roamers are almost already at the natural. Gerald's only got 2 volts. Keiron's really gonna need some units. He's pulled back his volts to make it look like his ramp is unguarded. It's a trap, but it's not much of one. There he goes, he's shaped in a pulsar. That's really gonna change the dynamic here. Let's see how that plays out. The pulsar's like, I was born to kill Zerglings. I think I can handle a few roamers. eGGz is gonna give up the high ground and go after the natural instead. But Gerald's not gonna let him have that either. He's gonna push him back. He's got a second pulsar on the way. eGGz is expanding back home. He's definitely not going all in with this. The complimentary tanking Scorpelisk arrives. eGGz tucks his roamers in behind it and he attacks. He's focusing down the pulsars. Gerald is so chill. He just keeps making workers instead of units. Dude, how do you not panic? Now he tries to shape in a pulsar, but he does it on the low ground and it just gets murdered. The resources lost tab really shows how bad this is going for Keiron. Gerald's learned his lesson though. He's making his units at the high ground at the main citadel instead. And that includes an Umbra. eGGz is not gonna have any detection, but I don't think that's a huge deal because the Umbra is gonna keep uncloaking every time it attacks. There's no way you can have stealth compulsion at this phase of the game. But there you go, it does the job. He pushes eGGz back. And for the second time, he reclaims his natural. Is eGGz done or is there another wave? The game could actually stabilize from here. The roamers have a quick powwow, but it looks like they decide they're gonna attack again. eGGz is evolving mutate bile ducts. That is a range upgrade for the roamer. Gives you +3 range. But it is a long upgrade. I think it's at 79 seconds now. There's a clash. Neither player liked their chances on that one. eGGz is backing off, but if Gerald doesn't believe him, I'd understand. eGGz keeps investing in the roamers. In addition to that upgrade, he's making 3 more of them. Gerald's using his sanctum charges to make subjectors now. That's ideal because they have a range of 6, so they'll surpass the roamers, and once the upgrade kicks in, they'll equate them. But speaking of dueling upgrades, Gerald's actually going to go and get Stealth Compulsion. That's the upgrade that lets you recloak your Umbre after it decloaks after it attacks. eGGz brought his troops home and gave them a little spa day there, healing them up at the feeding pool. eGGz adding in Mendlings now as well. I assume that's for their healing ability because he doesn't need them for anti-air. I really like the new Mendling. They're much smaller and cheaper now. In today's economy, you really want everything bite-sized. So as it stands, Gerald's currently behind. He's behind on workers, army size, income, you name it. But it's not that significant. One good fight could turn this around for him. I mean, he's already lasted longer than game 1. Now eGGz is researching Scorpulus speed. Mutate Scorpulus Metabolics. That's another one of those really long upgrades. eGGz launches the next wave of attack, scours away to get him vision of that high ground. Gerald fires off an Energize. He gets that multi-buff before he attacks, and he's shaping in more units, trying to take advantage of that defender's advantage. The Umbra really doing good work on those Scorpulus. eGGz has to be wondering if his tech has become stale. Gerald this time chasing down the retreating Xayid. He might even be looking to counter. Because the Umbra have a range of 5, the upgraded roamers can kite them. That green spell you're seeing there, guys, just in case you didn't know, that's for vision. It doesn't do damage, it's called Scour. It's an ability the roamer has on cooldown. Sorry if I'm telling you guys stuff you already know. It just occurs to me that this tournament might be attracting some people who are not as familiar with the Scion custom races. eGGz's mutagen chamber now researching +1 carapace. Gerald's also upgrading, he's going for +1 mechanical weapons. Oh, spa day for the Xayid. Those Mendlings are gonna get themselves looking pretty. Both our players looking to take a third base here. It really does feel like the game has stabilized since that roamer rush. eGGz still holding the lead, but it seems less and less significant as the game goes on. Gerald's looking to make an Atrium, you gotta like that. I feel like Myriads would be pretty decent against the roamers. They get bonus damage against the roamers, but the roamers will also get bonus damage against the Elytra, so maybe it's something of a wash. But I think it's like a Keiron truism, when in doubt, make some Myriads. Can't go wrong with Inducers either. eGGz walks into a cloaked defense. If he wants detection, he's gotta make a Fairy-On. He definitely knows how, I've seen him do it before. eGGz has a single Casnolus backing up this attack. He keeps maneuvering, looking for openings. He knows his army's more maneuverable than that of the Keirons. Looks like he's gonna get the snipe on that edifice. I'm not sure why Gerald's putting it there, because that's kind of a vulnerable spot, unless the thinking is he's trying to build a wall. Yes, I think he is, because he immediately looks to rebuild it in the other corner. You can tell Gerald's a Protoss player. He's no stranger to using production facilities to build a wall. So eGGz is really playing a side-to-side game here. You'll notice the Casnolus is a lot slower, so it kind of gets stranded. That means it could get picked off if he's not careful. Is it just me, or do roamers look so much deadlier in the hands of eGGz? Okay, eGGz is getting a Fairy-On. That's going to help him out with those Umbra. He's also teching up to an Avian Nest behind this. We also saw that Gerald's added in a ward now. You can make that at the Foundry instead of an Umbra. And it was kind of funny there, the ward threw up a shell dome on top of himself. But since the ward uses his own shields to fuel the shell dome, I believe the net result of that is absolutely nothing. But it does look cool, and other allied units can slip inside the dome. Okay, so this is actually a third Avian Nest going up for eGGz here. We may be looking at an air transition. That's pretty interesting. And if that's the case, he's gonna get even more aggressive with his roamers. Your fear factor goes down when you're just looking to trade. Gerald getting to work on his edifice wall. If he can limit eGGz's points of access, he'll be able to defend better. But I worry eGGz is just gonna keep hitting the wall. Maybe if he can park some inducers behind it, he'll have superior range and he can blast anybody trying to attack his wall. Or eGGz could just go right through before it's done. Oh, I think this is gonna be bad. He hits the mineral line. Workers are dying. It is a bloodbath all around. Shell dome goes up, but that doesn't help the workers. 14 dead, and the Xayid are gonna slip away commando style. I mean, the Xayid are doing like a military in and out operation. I don't mean they're not wearing underwear. Just thought I'd clarify that. I mean, the Xayid are actually a bit like Donald Duck. They never actually wear underwear. Don't be judgy, they like their freedom. I know, personal hygiene is a big factor here, but It's not your life, okay? So the end result was 18 dead workers. Gerald set back yet again. But despite the intensity of that combat, both our players were grabbing a fourth at the same time. That's that veteran savvy. It's just a reflex for these guys. Gerald could definitely use that extra citadel, but he doesn't really have the converters to staff it right now. He's gonna have to hang a now hiring sign on that citadel and see who signs up. I mean, the Keiron do have a decent dental plan, so they should get some interest. The hours, though, are not flexible, to be honest. In some games, your shift could be as long as a half an hour. Oh no, eGGz says no new citadels allowed. The one thing Gerald's really got going for him here, though, is he does have superior tech. eGGz with the two-pronged attack, very nice. The Keiron army's out of position, he's gonna go to work on that wall. Which is gonna pull Gerald out of position again on the right-hand side, and he's gonna go in and kill that citadel. eGGz is playing him like a fiddle at this point. +2 mechanical weapons finishing up for Gerald. He is gonna have an upgrade lead. eGGz is researching refined excretion. That has gotta be the most disgusting upgrade in the entire game. I love it. What that does is it extends the duration of all the Xayathoan spells. They're flying spellcaster. It also addresses constipation and diarrhea. And any good Xayid player wants to take that into account. So Gerald loses his fourth. He's angry about it, looking to counter. And here's where he discovers eGGz has added in a spitter. Looks like a giant scorpion and it's got a long range attack. It's the closest thing the Xayid has to a siege weapon. It lobs a high damage attack that does extra damage against armor. Now I think I know what eGGz is up to here because I sat in on one of his practice sessions. Magical Cookie was tutoring him a bit in preparation for this tournament. And one of the things they'd come up with was to use the Xayathoan to extend the range on the spitter. The Xayathoan has a buff spell that increases attack speed and range. And there's a really good synergy there. Oh, as this battle happens amongst the rich Vespene gas geysers, I can't help but notice that Gerald has just gone for double Pantheon. It's only game 2, but we might get to see space doggies. That's right, Titans could be on the way. Those are fantastic. The only problem I foresee is if eGGz really does do that air transition. Space doggies do not shoot up. And eGGz really will have the ability to do that transition if he wants to. He's pulling in over 3,000 minerals a minute, over 1,000 of gas. He's at 87 workers and still droning. He's just getting his +1 attack now, though. I wonder how much the upgrade advantage has been a factor for Gerald staying in this game. Ah, what just happened there? Looked like a misclick there. I think for a second Gerald just kind of turned on one of his Umbra, started shooting the crap out of it. Maybe it was talking trash to his buddies and they just decided they had enough of him. I mean, you really gotta watch what you say when you hang out with giant cyborgs with lasers. Okay, eGGz is getting tactical again. He's splitting his army. He's got a force going at the wall, particularly with those spitters. He's gonna suck the defense towards them. And then he's got a unit of roamers ready to attack the right-hand side. eGGz has added raptors into the mix here, but they really don't do that much damage. They almost remind me of reapers in a way. They're so much better at harass than they are in straight-up battles. I wouldn't be at all disappointed if you just took them right out of the fight and instead swung them over to attack the main or something. Oh, it's a campfire marshmallow. The roamers were successful in the attack on the right-hand side. The distraction worked. Gerald's actually wound up supply block too. He lost his wall and he lost the citadel, all of which is costing him supply. It's as though his wall was made out of pylons, not gateways. Oh, I think eGGz heard me on the raptors. Oh yes. Look at that worker kill count just rise. Gerald skimped on air defense all game long. And now those chickens are coming home to roost. As an added bonus, the raptors are gonna get the scout on that double Pantheon. So Gerald can deal with this, but he's really having to pull his army back. And that can create other openings for eGGz. As we see on the minimap though, eGGz is not waiting in the wings to take advantage of this right now. He's pulled back and he's powering. He's added another expansion, getting another biomass hatchery, increasing the spitter count, and he's actually researching the range upgrade for the spitters. +3 range, it's one of those upgrades that takes forever to research though. I think Gerald's gonna give up on that wall. It's just been too easy a target for eGGz almost all game long. The good news for him is he's almost got +3 mechanical attack. eGGz is still on +1, though he did get +1 for his flying units as well. It's interesting to me that Gerald went for the mechanical upgrades. I wouldn't say it's universal, but we usually see players go for the bio upgrades first. Maybe that's something we need to have a discussion about. Look at those raptors being such pains. Not only are there no Stratus air turrets, there's no conduits, so Gerald can't make echoes to respond to this. Though I gotta say, those wards look to be a lot more effective as anti-air than I thought they would. I think Gerald's lost his base in the top center twice already. And now eGGz is clearly eyeing a hat-trick. Meanwhile, eGGz is running out of raptors, but it's hard to stress how cheap those things are. Yeah, Gerald's gonna lose that citadel yet again. This time we can witness it properly. It's a campfire marshmallow. Oh, the space doggies are here and they're not happy about it. When you see enemy units covered with that electricity type effect, that's the Titan's inhibitor beam. It's a debuff that slows their opponent's attack speed. Oh hey, eGGz has actually made an exterminator. I wonder if that was by accident. Exterminators are great, but they're an air-to-air unit, and Gerald has definitely not shown any signs of going for air. Maybe it's like insurance in case there is such a transition. But knowing what we know and seeing what we can see, that money would be better spent in raptors or assailants. I'm not gonna criticize eGGz though, he's playing a great game here. He's essentially maxed out now and showing signs of building a bank. The problem for him is Gerald has these really high-tech units, and most of them are enjoying that +3 upgrade. I mean, Gerald actually has the larger army here, and he is going on the offense here. eGGz is getting ground up pretty hard here. Could Gerald actually swing this game in his favor? Oh, an eGGz sighting at the 3rd base location. eGGz has to retreat his army. There is a significant advantage for Gerald right now. Not economically, so this could be fool's gold. But Gerald has an opportunity to do some damage. eGGz dumps his money into making 10 Scorpolisks. Reinforcements are on the way. I gotta say, I'm getting a little invested in this. I thought we were gonna see Gerald die by a death of 1,000 cuts, but he is making a game out of this. Oh, you'll notice how incredibly resilient those bile pits are. Those babies hold up. They got 350 hit points, armor 2, and they're getting healed by feeding pools. So yeah, trying to grind through multiple bile pits is really tough, even when you have a high-tech Keiron army like this. You might be better off focusing down the spitters first. Oh, the Scorpolis did not come to the defense. They are countering. eGGz is betting that Gerald has no army left at home. And he is not wrong. Thank goodness there's an eGGz. Does it have enough power for a shield? He's losing a ton of workers. Now is the time. Oh, Gerald's gonna bring his army home. That's gonna be a big march on Death Aura. There's the shield. Oh my god, he knocked the Scorpolis up into his main. I didn't even know that could happen. That's really cool. I don't know what the physics on that are, but that's super cool. 20 dead workers. In one fell swoop, eGGz has reversed the fortunes of this game. For a minute there, it looked like Gerald was mounting a comeback. But eGGz now has a worker lead of 70. Gerald changes his mind, he's not coming back home. I think he's gonna go for the desperation push. If he can do a ton of damage, he can stay in this game. Oh, but he's gonna have to grind through even more bile pits. No feeding pools though, and he can outrange them. If he's patient, the inducers can deal with this. The problem is he doesn't have that kind of time. Because eGGz is making Krakens. Remember how 20 years ago I thought there was gonna be an air transition? Well, it looks like it's happening. Oh my god, this is gonna be campfire marshmallow number 4 in this location. This is way too much marshmallows. The kids are gonna have a sugar rush. Now we'll never get them to bed. Thanks, eGGz. That's raptors for you. Definitely pack monsters. Oh, eGGz is actually supply blocked, but he's responded by triple expanding. Oh, Krakens are here with volatile discharge. Those are bio-nukes. Everyone has to get away from those. Oh, eGGz just nuked a bunch of his own scorpions. I don't think he knows that's a friendly fire situation. Yes, Krakens can nuke themselves. And they're sitting over top another discharge right now. Oh, the Xayid army is so weak. But Gerald has barely any anti-air left. And if he loses his army, I don't know if he can replace it. More volatile discharge on the ground is incubating. If eGGz didn't know, he's learned. He's pulling away. He should take his Krakens to a spa day. They need to sit next to a feeding pool and heal up. They're all just like one shot away from dying. Do it, eGGz, do it. You're right there. No, he's actually going around the feeding pools instead of flying over top of them. Gerald realizes he has to press the attack. eGGz is getting +2 air attack. I'd like to see Gerald use his Sanctum charges to make a whole bunch of subjectors, because he sure doesn't have any air units. Gerald's mined out at his main and natural. He's really operating off of one base at this point, and his once vaunted army's pretty thinned out. I'm not sure what money he's gonna use to buy those subjectors. If that Raptor pack hits his 3rd, it's probably game over because that is the end of his economy. eGGz did finally take his Krakens to the spa, though it looks like their day's gonna be cut short here. If eGGz can somehow crush this army, he will be completely unopposed. Volatile discharge. Both our players have learned they have to get out of there. Discharge evaded. Gerald's army is down to inducers without screeners. Scorpialists or even Zydlings could just run up and kill them. Oh, there's even Revilers in that pack now. I'm not sure eGGz has the Battle Frenzy upgrade for them though, but I don't think it matters. Gerald's getting chewed up. He's not remaking units. Raptors actually fly over to kill the final inducer, and it's GG. Whew! That was a finals-worthy game. Real quick, so I feel like Gerald is inching closer to defending that Roamer rush. He still took too much damage from it in game 2, and it left him on the back foot. Really, the effect of the Roamer rush echoed throughout that game. Because he was so far behind, Gerald had to skimp on air defense, and eGGz eventually exploited that. You just can't lose that many workers to just a handful of Raptors. But we saw enough to know that Gerald is a late game terror, and I can see why eGGz is looking to crush him early. Down 2 games, Gerald might be looking to bust out his Protoss. But what if eGGz surprises him, goes zerg? We gotta see this, guys. Adjutant, if you would please.
The game begins now.
Well, I do believe Gerald has come up with an answer to the Roamer rush. Or at least a temporary one, at least. It's something he's permitted to do once under the rules. He's transformed his Keiron into Protos. Gerald is a world-class Protoss player, and so he has just completely flipped the script here. But he's down 2 games, and I have to agree it was time to bust this out. It's not as though eGGz is going to be stunned with surprise here. He's got to be anticipating this is a real possibility. So I guess I'm just going to say, okay, Gerald, show us what you got, man. He may be a world-class Protoss player, but he still puts down his pylon just like everybody else. Oh, I think that might be a gate and go. If so, this'll mark the first time he's actually scouted. eGGz makes a pile of eggs, and he doesn't skimp on the jelly. You gotta keep those eggs moist, people. They dry out so quickly, especially when you're playing on desert terrain like, say, Pillars of Gold. Oh, that just worked out. If eGGz is expanding, and I think he is because he's queuing up minerals, it means he's going for a different build this map. The mind games have begun. Having scouted, Gerald's gonna see it. He's also gonna reveal his toss. He's gonna try a little ice skating and see if he can delay the base. eGGz is officially at 400. Oh, as a pylon block. eGGz responds by making a Zydling. I think that'll be the first one we've seen in this series. No question, Gerald has taken eGGz off of his build order. Yeah, he's just gone for Plan B, which was essentially what he did in the previous games. He's gone for the mutagen chamber and that extra den. It's possibly a Roamer rush again, but slightly delayed. Though I don't see the rally points to suggest he's actually going to attack with it. Kinda too bad, because I'd like to see how Toss would hold that. Okay, the Ling is out. It goes right after the probe and kills it off. And now they're going to try to deal with that pylon. That's actually the second one that Gerald built. He canceled and rebuilt that. Meanwhile, back at the old Toss ranch, Gerald has just about finished his cyber core. Oh, he does cancel that. Waste not, want not, I always say. Oh, it's gonna be a Stargate. Stargate is his tech choice. eGGz definitely doesn't want roamers then. Roamers are a little bit vertically challenged, but he could go for the Mendlings. They have anti-air for sure, in spades. eGGz is only down a single worker, which is really quite excellent, given that Gerald can chrono boost. He gets his expansion down, and Protoss has not started his. Looks like he's gonna use that lone Zydling to scout. Gerald adds Warp Gate research and a pair of Adepts, but I really want to see what's gonna come out of that Stargate. So Adepts should be pretty decent against roamers. They almost in a way fill the same role as the roamer. Both are light and both do extra damage against light. eGGz tries to dash away from those Adepts as soon as he sees them, but the Shade is just much more impressive. That's the first blood. No, it isn't. eGGz killed the probe. My bad. Oh man, I'm totally off tonight. Let's just chalk it up to the intensity of this match. Zug can't handle the big league pressure. Ships passing in the night, the Adepts are gonna miss that Mendling. Well, let's be fair, the Mendling missed the Adepts. But I suspect he'd be happy about that if he actually knew. So there's no Twilight cancel, so there's no sign of Glaives. Instead, it's an Oracle coming out of that Stargate. If I was an Adept and I left my resonating glaive at home, I'd be so embarrassed. The Adepts shade for the main while picking off an innocent worker trying to make a feeding pool. The Mendlings en masse are going to chase those Adepts out. There's also a Scorpalisk. Gerald's going to deal with that single Mendling that made it into his base. But it did pick up a couple of kills, which means it was actually more efficient than the Adepts. Gerald lost both his Adepts, so he's actually behind on resources lost. But he's looking to make that up with an Oracle. There is no air defense of any kind for eGGz. Pulsar Beam is out. eGGz's only defense is to wait for that thing to get drained. But he's not just defending, he's attacking. The roamers hit the natural. But they're not content with that. They're gonna try for the ramp. They get up. Gerald does not have enough there. Stalkers are good here, but there's only 2 of them. eGGz kills a Stalker. He kills a Zealot. Gerald's trying to get a shield battery to finish. Oh, Oracle mistakenly goes for the Scorpalisk. It would be so much more effective against the Mendlings. Look how quickly he can kill a Mendling. That Oracle popped out to save the day. But I think it's out of power now. The Mendlings do not agree with my assessment that Stalkers are good against them. Gerald can't seem to kite, and he's got to do a probe pull to try to cover his Stalkers. eGGz is having none of it. He just goes right at the Stalkers and kills them. So Gerald does hold, and that's bad for eGGz because he lost way more workers. That Oracle's coming home, and it has 12 kills on it, and that's exactly what Gerald's worker lead is. Plus, eGGz has to dump his money into air defense now. He wants a bile pit in each of his mineral lines, and that is the right call because those Oracles are on their way back. I don't think either of them can have a lot of energy though. And eGGz does have Mendlings now. Kind of like a queen, they inexplicably have extra range against targets in the air. Though queens also do extra damage against the air. Oh, Gerald steered right into that bile pit. He did not want to do that. It cost him an Oracle, but he did pick up 3 kills. Will he figure out that there's also a bile pit in the main? Yeah, he's gonna park it and he's gonna get pinned in by the Mendlings. Oh, we've got ourselves a game here, people. Gerald's definitely ahead, but it is early and eGGz is fighting hard. Twilight Council going down for Gerald. I do believe Gerald's one of these Protoss who does mean things with Blink. But he could also be going for Zealot legs, we'll see. No, it's gonna be Blink. He's way more invested in Stalkers. Stalker investment, buy low and sell high. Actually, all kidding aside, that gives me an idea. What if there was a unit or a structure you could actually salvage for more money than you paid for it? Build it for X, wait 2 minutes, sell it for Y. A good investment, but could you have used the money elsewhere? If you dump that money into workers, you might have more money in 2 minutes. All right, we've got roamers and Stalkers heading out onto the field here. It's another one of those ships in passing things. Once again, I think eGGz lucked out by that. I think he would have gotten killed. Nice, a scour to check that 3rd base location. It's the wrong one. Gerald is expanding, but it's down here. And I think that means the Stalkers are gonna arrive first. No, they're coming back. He saw something. I don't know what he saw. Maybe that gives eGGz a little bit of a window to do something here. But he's eventually gonna be badly outnumbered. Oh! Clutch force field, pincer maneuver. 2 of those roamers gotta get out of dodge. Oracle tags him with a revelation. And those roamers have triangles on their heads. The poor Xayid have never seen this before. Ah, get it off, get it off. Why are there triangles on our heads? You know what? That is worse than an Oculus, man. You can't get away from that. But at least it wears off. An Oculus pool lasts forever. Well, forever until destroyed. Okay, that is a lot of Stalkers. This could be a problem for eGGz here. He knows it. He arrays himself defensively, setting up that concave next to those feeding pools. Gerald starts up a robo. Stalkers are closing in. This could be a tough hold here. eGGz continues to make roamers. In fact, he's getting the range upgrade for them again. Mutate bile ducts. But I do think the roamer tech could be getting stale. I thought that in game 2 and I was wrong. Oracle takes a look and Gerald decides to go for it. He's up the ramp. He's got Blink. Blink is finished. He's got enough power to one-shot the roamers. That's really great control. If he spreads out his shots, the feeding pools and the Mendlings are gonna take care of it. Oh, he does it again. Snipe, kill, blink, back, rinse, lather, repeat. eGGz is gonna add in Scorpalisks, but they are armored, which is something that Stalkers are even better against. But he might be trying to add them in for their venom. If he can slow down the Stalkers, he might have a chance. Gateway explosion, Gerald's gonna power behind this. He's getting everything, even a dark shrine. Oh, he can blink up to the high ground. He can get into the main. MVP Oracle in position. eGGz is getting way out of position here. Oh, you gotta respect the patience that Gerald had. He could have done that so much sooner, but he waited. He waited for eGGz to get as far out of position as possible. eGGz splits his army because he knows Gerald's gonna try to blink back down. Oh, he might be able to hit him on both sides here. That's not a good spot for Gerald. He sees it, he backs up. Oh, but now he's in the range of the bile pit. That might just be even worse. Gerald finds the sweet spot. Away from the bile pit, away from the low ground Mendlings. And now he can just overpower the Mendlings on the high ground. For a second there, I thought eGGz might pull this off. And he still might, because Gerald's not reinforcing. Yeah, he's gonna recall. eGGz held that, I'm not sure how. He even got a third out of the deal. It is late though. Gerald is ahead by a fully saturated base. Okay, and now he's linked all his stalkers together in one ungodly army. Poor eGGz, man. I think he's about to witness the full might of the Protoss. He's getting +1 attack and Scorpulus speed to try to help himself out. Also getting a Ferion. He might have guessed the Dark Shrine. But it's not DTs that's coming. It is a big whack of Blink Stalkers. 4 rows deep. And the Sentry splits the Xayid army. A bad engagement for the Xayid. Oh, it's GG! And Gerald grabs a game. There will be no sweeping, no brooms. The Protoss gets the job done. Well, the good news for eGGz is he doesn't really have to make an adjustment here because he's not going to hit Protoss again. But if he was to make an adjustment, I think it would be a pretty easy one. His build already has a fast mutagen chamber. All he really has to do is make a couple less roamers and add in a couple of early Mendlings. Then he's got some air defense if he needs it. If he turns out not to need it, the Mendlings are useful anyway. They're your healer unit, and it doesn't hurt to sprinkle them in. But how about this play here by Gerald? The Oracle gives high ground vision so the Stalkers can blink up into the main. We've seen this strat many a time, but what I loved here was the patience. I thought Gerald should have gone earlier, but that would have been a mistake. Instead, he waited for eGGz to commit all the way at the bottom of the third. That gave him all that extra time unopposed. I mean, he didn't get a whole lot done with it, but it was really cool. Smart play by a smart player, but no more Blink Stalkers for Gerald. If he's gonna survive this series, he's gonna have to do it with Keiron. Let's see what happens in Game 4. Adjutant, if you would please.
The game begins now.
Oh, I do believe this is what we call Retaliation. You go Protoss on me, I go Zerg on you. And if that wasn't weird enough, we're gonna do it on Golden Wall. Golden Wall's a fan favorite map that can totally change the character of games. The south section of the map is completely sealed off until you open it up with backdoor mining. Oh, extractor trick. Seems like every 6 months or so, somebody comes out with a report that demonstratively proves the extractor trick does nothing. And then somebody shows, nope, there's an advantage to be gained. And I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that eGGz probably knows what he's doing. And what he's doing is looking like expansion first. Gerald is gonna scout. Really, his first scout is Keiron. Though last game, his scout was really more about hatch blocking. Well, we'll see how Gerald reacts when he sees his opponent is a Zerg. Yes, the Xayid have transformed into the progenitor race. He's building an edifice, and he probably energized his citadel first. That's really going to be a point of build order discussion for Keiron. If you spend 150 minerals for energize, how long does it take you to earn that back? And how far does it set back your build order? But the earlier you get it, the more dividends it's going to pay. Oh, double edifice for Gerald. We definitely saw that was not a successful formula for dealing with the roamer rush. But he now knows he's not facing roamers, so he's gone back to it. But will it be for pariahs or volts or some kind of mix? Oh, but look at this. Gerald might be saving up for the gold. This is high risk because where the base is positioned, I was about to say it's easily scouted, but look at this. eGGz might see it before it even goes down. For a second, I thought Gerald was going to see the Overlord and abandon it, but he went for it. Does he see the Overlord? Does he know he's spotted? eGGz is gonna pull his Overlord back to try to hide the fact that he's figured it out. So the good news for Gerald is he had to have known it was gonna get scouted pretty quickly anyway. So there's no doubt to my mind, the plan is he's gonna try to defend that. He's gonna need to scramble some units up there. And because his opponent went hatch first, he's got a little bit of time. But since the pool just finished, I wouldn't describe it as a lot. 4 lings in production. Just 1 pariah out in the field. Oh, second one is materializing. Even still, I don't love this for Gerald. I feel like eGGz has the info advantage here. I don't think he's gonna let Gerald keep that base. I mean, if he does, it's a huge advantage for Gerald. Yeah, there you go. He's going to send out those pariahs. I don't think this is an attack. I think he's just going to extend his front line. eGGz is getting ling speed, not like that's a shock, but I think that has the potential to be a big deal. Gerald is getting volt/pariah speed. It's called modified gate. Oh, eGGz is trickling his lings. That is good for Gerald. He can slice and dice them if they want to come one at a time. Oh, eGGz has stopped mining gas. He just got enough to get his speed, and now I think he's dumping it all into lings. Gerald's actually doing something similar. He's halted his gas as well. eGGz is packing up his lings. These sight blockers are a huge problem, but it can be a bit of an advantage for the zerg because they've got the overlords. Zerg can peek over the bushes in a way that Keiron can't. So once again, it's eGGz with the information advantage. Will he be able to capitalize on it? Oh, quite possibly. He's actually going to go around. He's not going to try to take down the pariahs. Is he going to hit the backside of the gold, or is he actually going to go for the main? He's going to go for the main. The Overlord tells eGGz there's only 2 volts there, and now the volts are getting lured out of position. Overlord dies supply blocking eGGz, but the volts are just going to get massacred. Forget the gold. eGGz wants the main. Oh, workers are going to die. I don't think Gerald got the energized, because if he did, he needs to use it now. And there's a simultaneous hit on the gold. Gerald has a big-time worker advantage, but the zerg is about to deal with that. Oh, they're even on workers by the time I can even say it. 12 dead workers. This is going really bad for Gerald. Oh, the wheels are coming right off. The pariahs are just standing around right now. This is no time for a water break. Those pariahs must think they're upper management. They're discussing the war effort. There's the energized, but it's coming a little too late. The pariahs are chasing the zerg, but they are just getting lured out of position. Good call here by Gerald. He races back to cover the main. He's splitting his forces. He has no choice. It's a project! Oh my goodness, can Gerald actually defend this? eGGz has gone back onto gas, and he's actually making roaches now. He's been doing all of this while teching at the same time. That is amazing. 19 dead converters and more will soon follow. With the gold, Gerald has money coming in, but I don't think he has enough charges to deal with this. I don't think pariahs are going to be good enough against roaches. Oh, eGGz hides his roaches. I don't know if Gerald saw that. A baneling nest going down for eGGz. That's actually even worse for Gerald. Significant extra damage against light, and the pariahs are mealy. No way to kite a baneling, but no way to deal with the roaches, really. Gerald is impressively rebuilding his workers, but he needs an army. eGGz back in the main again. Gerald is taking it on both sides here. eGGz is actually making Ravagers now. You can always fall behind on the tech tree like this, but you have to have a lot of units to make it up. And Gerald just does not have that. The gold base is keeping him alive here, but he's about to lose that too. Yep, there's the GG. eGGz is gonna make the series 3-1, 1 win away from taking this. 1 win away from becoming the Grand Scion Cup champion. He would go down in Scion history as the first player ever to win a prize pool playing Scion races. eGGz did many things in this game right, but I particularly love when he flipped the script and went for the main instead of the gold. Gerald wasn't ready for that, neither was I, and it was just the right call. Great game sense. We gotta get to game 5 to find out if Gerald can survive or if eGGz can bring it home. Adjutant, if you would please.
The game begins now.
Okay, so things are finally back to normal like KVX. With these 2 players and their expertise, this series is almost really like a best of 5 instead of a best of 7. Because you gotta think it was pretty unlikely that either of them would topple their opponent when he was playing his favorite race. And this time we're gonna be on the map Eternal Empire. If you don't remember this guy, this map had a reputation as being one of the safest in the map pool. Lots of chokes, unusually easy to take a third base. So because of its reputation as the safest, Eternal Empire usually resulted in a lot of cheese and a lot of rushes, mostly because people thought their opponents wouldn't expect it. So bizarrely, Eternal Empire tends to result in very short games or very long ones. In fact, I think I've seen this map actually mine out more than once. In fact, if you never saw it, back in 2020 DreamHack Fall, a Laser and Marine Lord had what was largely considered to be the game of the year. We do have that cast on this channel, but maybe we better get back to this game. eGGz has another offensive looking rally, but only a single den and he's expanding. So he's not doing a rinse and repeat of his roamer rush. Gerald got energized first and then moved into an edifice. He's expanding as well. And then he's going into a sanctum. Sanctums have definitely worked better for him than multiple edifices, because the odds of eGGz not sending roamers is pretty low. And I was right about to say the fact that he hadn't made a mutagen chamber surprised me, but there it is. But I mean, that shouldn't be shocking. That's kind of like going, what? Protoss made a cyber core? Anyway, the point is, roamers are coming, probably with Scorpius and Mendlings mixed in there. And the Sanctum units definitely hold up against roamers a lot better. Neither player really making units though. They are both playing a little bit greedy here. Oh, second Sanctum for Gerald. I like it. I like it a lot. I like it more than you. I like it so much that compared to me, you hate it. In that last game, we really did get to see a bit of eGGz's style. He's simultaneously known for his aggression, but also his macro. And sure enough, he attacked Gerald relentlessly, but at the same time, he somehow teched up and expanded. That's just really impressive. Okay, single roamer for eGGz. So I was kind of misled by that rally point. It's not so much an attack as it is a scout. And that's the original design of the roamer. A solitary unit that gets you information, but can also pick off workers while it scuttles around. But it's really kind of evolved into an anti-light kill machine. I mean, long term, I wouldn't be surprised if ultimately the roamer got a debuff to its hit points or something. Make it less of a frontline fighter. But as of right now, I think the evolution was very necessary for the Xayid. So they'd have to be compensated before the roamer could be touched, I would think. Okay, Gerald does have an inciter out somewhere, so he should be okay, because eGGz does seem to be adding on the roamers, and now a second den. I don't know if this really qualifies as aggression, but he is sort of gonna probe the enemy, so to speak. Oh, I love how you can shoot down the scour. That's such a cool feature. I did not appreciate that for the longest time and had to be taught that tidbit by the developers. That's right, developers plural. We always mention Solstice as the lead developer of the Scion races on this channel. But there are others. One is Gateway. He also codes for the Scion races and spends a lot of time thinking about it. And then there's also Quor. Quor is mostly known to us around these parts as the OG Xayid player. He was killing people with these bugs long before people knew how to spell their name. In fact, we did spell Xayid differently back then. But Quor also volunteers with building the Scion custom races as well. So props to him too. So Kasnalis Den going down. eGGz really is probing the perimeters here, looking for opportunities, making sure Gerald feels nervous and doesn't get to just macro to his heart's content. Oh, quadruple scour, you're not shooting all those down. He's gonna see he's not getting in that way, at least not without taking some losses. Gerald's been unable to scout, now he's gonna try with the pariah. But eGGz's roamers have the watchtower and they're gonna see that. They're just gonna hunt him down and take a free kill. No scout for you. Instead, it's a first blood for eGGz. I mean, the pariah is faster if it uses a project, but that's on a cooldown. Oh, I think Gerald's gonna try again, but the roamers are already coming back. He's just gonna throw away another unit here. His only chance is if eGGz misses it. Nope, he's seen it. He's gonna head him off at the pass and kill him. You can project, but you can't hide. Maybe he was just projecting his inner emotions and aggressions onto those roamers. Anyway, it's not the end of the world. Those are cheap units. It's not a game changer, but hey, it's a freebie. eGGz will take it. Meanwhile, eGGz is adding that roamer range. Mutate bile ducts. I mean, obviously you can bile without bile ducts, but it's just not the same. One thing we do see in this game is that Gerald is riding the inducer instead of the pulsar this time around. I think that works well because until the roamers get that upgrade, they have the superior range. Makes it a lot harder for that hit and run to happen. And of course, while I'm saying that, eGGz snipes a converter and delays the third. Avian nest is up and raptors are on the way. I feel like eGGz used the raptors wrong in the first part of game 2, but he figured it out towards the end. He's adapting like the Borg here. Gerald's adding Umbra. He's in fact got a double foundry going here. And a double edifice to choke off the route to his natural. The edifice wall off didn't work so good for him in game 2, but I didn't hate it then and I like this one even more. eGGz did wait to get 4 raptors. I feel like that's the minimum number. You really gotta pack those up for them to be effective. Oh, it's a 2-pronged assault here. I'm not sure which one's the diversion, which one's the real assault. Maybe they both are. Scorpius are gonna tank as eGGz shoots up the ramp. Gerald has to pull back. And that is when the raptors are gonna sneak in. We are gonna see the converter kills just pile up here. It does look like Gerald's gonna hold it his third though. And he's shaping in an inducer to try to deal with the raptors. He's actually got a double atrium on the way. While Gerald is taking a lot of hits here, he is holding and he is teching very nicely. Our players are almost even on workers. eGGz with a slight income lead here. Gerald's on his way to getting ahead on upgrades. Once again going for that +1 mechanical weapons. So the Raptors have been driven off, but they are parked just outside that natural. Definitely a threat to return. Speak of the Devils and their packs. Nope, false alarm. Gerald's probably going to have to invest in his Stratus here. Otherwise he's going to have a lot of units parked there. eGGz is going home, but Gerald has no way to know that. What eGGz is really doing is picking up Scorpulus speed and adding a bunch of Scorpulus to use it. He also got his third up first, and now he's looking to saturate it. Oh, I spoke too soon. The Raptors are on their way back. Oh, but there actually is a Stratus being made in the natural, and Gerald has parked a lot of troops on the perimeter as well. So the 3 Raptor windows looking pretty closed here. Yeah, the Raptors can't see the defenders, and the defenders cannot see the Raptors. Wards are now making an appearance as Gerald continues to tech. We'll see what he does with the charges on his atrium. I think myriads are the way to go, but I think Gerald likes inducers, and you can't go wrong with those. I guess myriads aren't great if eGGz really does invest heavily in the Scorpulus. But as long as the roamer is the staple of his army, I think it's a good idea. eGGz has added Casnalists, really his first piece of tech. They are an area effect spellcaster. They can stun an area or do heavy damage in an area. They used to actually also have the covering spray, but the Mendling got jealous, so they have it as a spell instead. Raptors still in a holding pattern. They're gonna go as soon as I stop checking. I know how this works. Exactamundo, they go in, and they find there's a Stratus protecting the mineral line. The other troops were pulled away though, so good patience by eGGz. Raps fly to the main, but there's a Stratus there as well. Is there something they can hit outside the range of the Stratus? Yes, there is. That's actually double Pantheons getting shaped in right now. It's a useful scout for eGGz to know there's Titans on the way. Gerald materializes in an inducer, and that's gonna take care of the Raptors. The Roamer Patrol's gonna rush in to attack the 4th and find it's empty. Well, he does get the snipe on a converter, so that's not nothing. Oh neat, he threw a scour behind himself to sort of throw off the defenders. The Keiron units all attack the scour instead of chasing down the Xayid. That is pretty sick actually, I don't think we've seen that done before. Thumbs up for eGGz on that play. Gerald just keeps adding charging facilities. I think the bottom line is his strategy is defend while getting huge. And to some extent, it's really rather working. He's growing, his army's at least equal or larger than the Xayids. He's still behind on economy, but not overly so. Oh, there's a Keiron in the field, and it's actually being used as a dropship here. People always ask me, what is the bell and whistle that comes with a Keiron? There seems to be some sort of rule that you can't have an ordinary dropship. It's got to have a trick to it. It's got to heal like a medevac or warp in units like a warp prism. Well, the Keiron is a detector, so in that way it's kind of like a drop lord. But it's a very expensive one because its real trick is that it's kind of tanky. It's just pretty tough to kill for a dropship. It's a lot cheaper than it used to be. It's still not cheap, 125 minerals, 75 gas, but it used to be prohibitively expensive. And eGGz is getting some work done here with it. He's not getting overly greedy. He's dropping stuff, picking it up. And Gerald, though, is starting to circle the wagons. There does seem to be a bit of a pattern in this series so far, in that Gerald is usually +1 ahead on numeric upgrades. Hasn't really been a problem for eGGz to date. Hey, the foliage on the ground kind of looks like volatile discharge. You know the Kraken's bio-nuke? I wonder if that's where it comes from. The Keiron have a ton of new animations. Never before seen in Starcraft, but the Xayid has borrowed a little bit more. That might change when we have the Xayid 2.0 coming out. The Titans are here, but they can't shoot up, so they're not much of a help. But the inducers can shut this nonsense down, as can the subjectors. He focuses down the Keiron, makes sure the drop is a one-way trip, and that seems to be the end of eGGz's experiment with drops. Gerald is taking all kinds of hits, but he's kind of going all Nietzsche about this. Whatever doesn't kill him seems to be making him stronger. Or maybe I should say Kelly Clarkson for those of you who don't get the original reference. But for the record, people were actually using the phrase, "that which does not kill me makes me stronger," before American Idol came along and made Kelly Clarkson a pop star. Oh wow, eGGz is making 13 Scorpulus all at once. At this rate, he's gonna max out soon. Gerald's adding Pantheons and a ton of turrets. He's gonna lock down his bases, I think. Yeah, this has got some real late game potential here. I don't see either player knocking each other out anytime soon. And as soon as I say that, Gerald insists on trying to prove me wrong. He sets out with his first serious piece of offense in this game. He is pushing out and he is bringing the Titans. Titans backed by wards, backed by inducers. Say what you want about the Keiron, they've got each other's back. eGGz is rushing to defend, he's got spitters now. This is the closest thing the Xayid has to a tank. Big range, big damage, slow rate of fire. But the spitter range is inferior to the inducer, so he can't really get them on top of the Keiron without taking shots. Now he is researching mutate prolonged spores, so that's going to increase the spitter's range, but even with the upgrade, they're still going to be at a slight disadvantage to the inducer. What he can do if he really wants to get serious about range and outrange the inducers is he can use the Xayid to cast a spell to further increase their range. Oh, this is just so much power, guys. Remember, Bile Pits have 350 hit points and armor 2, and this Death Ball is just cutting through them like a hot knife through butter. There you go, eGGz is using the Xayid. You see those glowing green dots on the spitters? Not really dots, they're big green orbs. That's a buff spell that increases the target's range and attack speed. In combination with the spitter, it is deadly. He's just creating a kill zone in front of him. I don't see the Scorpulus counterattack getting too far here. There's just too many turrets to give Gerald time to shape in more units. Alright, Gerald gets the base kill. Oh, that poor ward didn't get the memo that the Keiron are falling back. The spitter's just gonna rip that shield. Fortunately, the ward's gonna run away just in time. +3 mechanical weapons for Gerald, +2 ground attack for eGGz. It is very cool to see the Xayid actually getting used. I mean, they've got the Xay in the name. They should be a key unit. Whoa, that is a lot of spitters in production. Those are 3 supply each. Anywho, now that eGGz has lost that forward base, Gerald's actually got the income lead here. And he's not gonna let eGGz get the easy rebuild here. No eGGz for eGGz. Both our players very close to maxing out here. Though if they both commit to this fight, we're just gonna see a huge trade. Oh, there is gonna be blood on the sand. As he loses units, it looks like eGGz is slowly trying to rotate in more revilers. That's one of the Xayid's high DPS units. A little higher on the fragility, but once you research Battle Frenzy, they really start cooking. Every time they shoot, their attack rate starts to pick up. I want to see eGGz go for a bigger pack of raptors. I mean, the small ones seem to have their impact. And this kind of a foray costs him almost nothing. The investment is super small. But if he doubles or triples the size of his raptor pack, I could see it doing so much more. Here we see eGGz dealing with those raptors pretty much with a single subjector. Yes, eGGz is doing the attention damage that he wants, but he's not really getting worker kills. Here we see eGGz trying to regain control of his low ground. He wants to bait Gerald into his ramp so he can make himself a real kill zone. But the Keiron's not taking the bait, and if eGGz wants to defend his 5th, he's gotta come down and play. Ugh, those ward shields look like they're made out of glass. They're actually really durable, they're just getting hammered by those spitters. Oh, this is cheeky. Gerald is triple expanding, one of which is on the Xayid side of the map. He is signaling confidence, and why not? He is slightly ahead in almost every category. I mean, yes, eGGz has slightly more workers, but Gerald's pulling in way more money right now. This is the furthest down we've ever seen eGGz in a game in this series so far, other than the time he was facing the Protoss. There we see that Gerald is winning the resources lost game. He has been more efficient this game so far. eGGz making a huge wave of mendlings. Either he's worried about an air transition or he wants some healing. The scavengers come in for the long distance mining and they're like, wait a second. Scorpulus looking to shut this down, but Gerald's scrambling his forces to defend it. This is gonna be close. Does he need to cancel? No, eGGz is gonna pull back and try to save his Scorpulisks. And then the spitters come to counter, but they have no support. Oh, this is an opportunity for Gerald to jump on that army. Oh, there were a few eroders in front to escort. I thought those spitters were all alone. Gerald's pretty serious about defending that citadel. It's actually gonna finish. If he holds this, this actually puts him in pretty good shape for the game. He's just gonna have that much more real estate in any mine out scenario. eGGz is gonna feel the pressure that he has to take it back. I'd be tempted to plow down a bunch of static defense. Make it really expensive to get rid of that base. Both sides pulling back. Okay, so Gerald's actually maxed out. And what he's doing is he's putting down Imperiums. He's setting himself up for a potential air transition. I really like that, even if he doesn't ultimately use it. Once you go into late game, you need that as a precaution. eGGz realizes he's not gonna get that forward base anytime soon, so he takes another one for himself. He gets the one with the rich gas geyser. Gerald's already taken his, but I don't know if he's even bothered to put any workers on it. He's just got that many bases. Oh, and from this location, he can even assault the natural. Not that it's a high value target at this stage in the game. It's mostly mined out, but it effectively lets Gerald cut off eGGz's production facilities. And since he's maxed out, I don't think he's averse to trading. eGGz just has to battle him back. He uses a ton of Xayid energy to win this fight. I notice he's not just buffing the spitters, he's also buffing the revilers now. When insanely fast shooting things shoot even faster. This forward citadel of Gerald's is actually really helpful. He's not really using it to mine, but keep in mind what he can also do is he can pull back and park his army over top of it and use it to recharge his shields. You can see there's a Titan deep in the red there that could probably really use that. Remember, once a Keiron unit gets hit, its shields no longer regenerate until it gets back within the range of a citadel. So one of the ways that I foresee the Keiron game evolving is in a bogged down siege like here. Particularly when a player is maxed out, Keiron will actually start putting down citadels in the middle of nowhere. And then the Keiron player will almost use them like shield batteries. Shield batteries that really don't ever run out of energy. Though they don't repair shields as fast as a shield battery. Oh, +3 ground attack is finally finishing for the Xayid. Gerald finished a while back and he's been working on the shield upgrades now. He's also been shaping in Zenith. That means that's gonna give him access to Paragons. eGGz has got Mazilisks now. He's putting them in front to tank. And if there turns out to be an air transition, they're gonna be extra helpful. At 500 hit points and an armor of 3, they're not just a pretty face. They do not move very fast though, and their range against ground targets is not that great. So in this kind of a land war where you've got Scorpilisks and Inducers going at each other, the Mazilisk is a decent way to tank, but it's not giving you very much in terms of offense. At least not for your dollar anyway. Okay, now this is an important take for eGGz. He really wants this campfire marshmallow, and it's a thing of beauty when it's right at your front door. Oh, the overkill on that port converter was pretty extreme. And here comes the rescue force, just a week too late. The Titan in front's like, don't worry, we got this. Oh, that is Battle Frenzy being researched at the Biomass Cavern. That's what he wants for his revilers. It does a great job of accelerating the DPS of your army. And then I particularly love how... Oh, hey, Quar. Dude, who's casting this, me or you? Just kidding, buddy, I love you. Now go away. So that's pretty cool. One of the top Xayid players, one of the vets, was watching this game live. And sticking in his 2 cents apparently. Okay, so Gerald is rebuilding his very advanced position citadel. And it looks like he's gonna perma-park his army to defend it this time. I think it's either that or he invests in turrets. Oh my god, that's 3 more Zeniths. He's going up to 7. I think Gerald has a plan to flip his army into Paragons. But while Paragons are awesome, and they are awesome, each one costs a ridiculous amount of supply. I think like 8. So they really make your army that much smaller. eGGz is pivoting back to Mazilisks. These guys are terrific anti-air. The catch is it takes micro, and since you gotta hunker them, it's gonna cost you mobility. And eGGz has been using mobility as a weapon against the Keiron all series long. If his new army is centered on hunkered Mazilisks, that's gonna be a bit of a change here. But I think that's a chance he's gotta take. He needs an answer to Paragons. These roamers are gonna roll in here for a run by and they're gonna look up and go, whoa, that is a lot of Zenith. Oh, the advanced citadel was left unguarded again. A single spitter's been dispatched to take it down. That's a double marshmallow. That is just a ton of adaptive injections. I think Gerald has really learned when he sees a bunch of green glowing balls, he wants to take that as a time to pull back. Maybe hope they can time out. Problem is, eGGz has the refined excretion upgrade. So all those Xayid spells have extended duration. Oh, I see. Gerald loses some units, which frees up some supply, which means he gets to make more Paragons. It's almost kind of like Gerald's got this threat. If you kill me, I'm just coming back stronger. I'm coming back as Paragons. It's starting to feel like eGGz is in a little bit of trouble here. Gerald does not intend to lie down and die in this series. Quar, buddy, we talked about this. But it's not like eGGz is out of this. He's got a huge amount of income coming in, and he's practically maxed himself. But he's been attacking Gerald pretty much non-stop for 20 minutes, and he's really not pushing him back. Oh, the Paragons are gonna get right at the Xayid. Those are gonna be expensive losses for eGGz. Oh, he attempts an emergency transition into Raptors here. They can hit air, but they're just gonna get 1 shot or 2 shot, and then on the ground, all the spitters are now useless. They can't hit air targets. That's a ton of supply that's just kind of not doing much. eGGz is getting built. Too bad Gerald didn't have that at the forward base location. eGGz is retreating to try to regroup. He's remaking his army with a bunch of low-tier units. I think he's hoping the Mendlings are going to give him the anti-air he needs to deal with those Paragons. I don't know if that's going to do it. Uh-oh, eGGz did not want to lose this base. Can he at least save those workers, though? The new low-tier force is going to scramble and see if they can do a surprise attack on the right. They know that Paragons are all off on the left-hand side. Will the eGGz finish in time? It does! Force field, force field, force field! Where is it? Yes! We have an eGGz force field in the finals. Does Gerald know he can shape in units underneath it to try to save the day? I don't know that he does. He's trying to bring back his main force all the way from the left. Can they get here in time? No! Citadel goes down. It's a campfire marshmallow. Though the eGGz survived. It's like at 2 hit points. 15 actually. It was just 1 hit away. Oh, I was mistaken. eGGz didn't get refined excretion. He just got it now. Oh, he probably could have used that. GG! That was a scrap and a half. Gerald not going into that good night without a fight. He takes game 5 and makes it 3-2 in favor of eGGz. Well, this changes everything. For the first time, it looks like Gerald has the tools to defeat eGGz. But he's down a game, and he still sits in the hot seat, ready to be eliminated with any loss. Maybe it's the pressure that makes him perform. I can't wait to find out, but before we do, there's something I really do want to do. I don't normally do shout-outs on this channel, but we gotta make an exception for Zazin. He's going through a rough time of things right now, but he still took the time to reach out, support the channel, and let us know how he's doing. So Zazin, wherever you are, I have no idea if you'll even hear this, but hang in there, buddy. We're sending you our best buffs and upgrades here, however virtual it may be. May you find your shield battery in life and recharge. I guess I should say feeding pool since we're watching the Xayid right now. I don't even know what I'm saying at this point. But let's cut to game 6 here. Adjutant, if you would please.
The game begins now.
Okay, game 6. Once again, eGGz just 1 game away from victory. But he was not able to close it out. Gerald just will not go away. Oh, you, aka Magical Cookies, in the audience. He spent a fair bit of time coaching eGGz. He might be hoping to see our Colombian player take home the gold here. Oh, once again, we see Gerald goes for Energize first. I'm still not sure about the cost-benefit analysis of that choice. I'd love to hear what you guys think. I'm genuinely kind of ambivalent about it. Anywho, we're gonna do game 6 on the map Romanticide. I know you know it, I just don't know if you love it. But if you didn't catch that Dark versus Stassen match I cast on this map, that was one you wanted to see. Dark Zerg versus Stassen's Keiron. Gotta check those rally points to see if this is looking like a rush. Not yet, it isn't. I'm definitely expecting eGGz to be aggressive this game. You know what? I think I'm getting sufficiently chuffed that we can actually go for another round of intros. Just remember, whatever you do, never ever put all of our Xayid player in the bottom right in a single basket because he's eGGz! Oh, I'm gonna find a graphic of the fiercest looking basket of eggs you've ever seen. You know I will. Oh, I miss doing this. But I also apologize for what happens next. Our Keiron player is a Stephen King novel turned into one of the most disturbing movies of all time. He is Gerald! You don't need to watch that. Stick with your Starcraft. Okay, so it's double den into mutagen chamber for eGGz again. This is his build for roamer pressure. I think after what happened last game, eGGz does not want to go late game. He wants to win early. In a practice session, I heard him kind of complaining about how Xayid operates in late game. So I don't think he's confident enough to go late. Not that he isn't confident in his skills. He doesn't think he's seen Xayid do enough in late game to be competitive against Keiron. Whether he's right or wrong about that, I don't know. But the point is, he thinks that, and that's going to inform his choices here. I mean, he is going to expand, so he's not going all in. but I think he's going to be aggressive. Of course, you have to put that in the context that eGGz is just a very aggressive player to begin with. He's not your typical reaction zerg. Roamers are out, the Sanctum is just finishing and hasn't built any charges yet. And we've seen Gerald struggle to hold this without any Sanctum units. So there's a bit of a window, even though it's pretty small, where eGGz can do some damage. Oh no, it's double Sanctum, I'm sorry. There's still a window, but it's definitely going to slam shut. Once again, the expansion finishes just as eGGz arrives, so there's nothing to cancel, and the Volts are definitely disadvantaged here. eGGz is going to tick off that first blood on the checklist. And he got one of the Volts as well. Oh, he's going to split his forces. Gerald's running in multiple directions, and eGGz is kind of taking the bait here. He catches himself, and he repacks up his units. There's a Subjector out now. I'm still not convinced that Pulsars aren't better for this. But either way, I think they're both pretty decent against roamers. Certainly a lot better than Volts and Pariahs. Oh, I think eGGz tried to fake that he left there. Gerald adding to his Subjector count. If he gets enough of those, they'll just start one-shotting the roamers before they can close. So that could be the thinking. Oh, it's the Scorpulus to tank follow-up. We've seen that just about every game. And it works so well. Gerald hits the Energized, gets that extra shield, regen, and speed. But it's still not enough. eGGz is going to overpower here. A Scorpulus just has 160 hit points and 2 armor, so they just take a lot of shots to kill. The result is a whole bunch of worker kills now, but they're still pretty much even on workers. Gerald's just making them that much faster. Holy smokes, is this ever turning into a duel. They are just going at each other. eGGz is just streaming units straight across the map. Gerald is now down to his last combat unit. Does he have charges because he needs to get something shaped in right now? Gerald pulls the mice. A pulsar materializes just in the nick of time. eGGz doesn't want that fight, so he's going after the easier target, the natural. And he's going to get a marshmallow. And that's going to be big because Gerald's been doing double worker production to stay in this. Oh, he's going to try to save it. He is! Campfire marshmallow denied. I had zoomed in and everything. Still, it's a pretty huge army advantage for eGGz right now. And he's going to reinforce and try again. You can really tell Gerald's issue is he's trying to get enough charges to get units. eGGz with the concave. Another energized by Gerald to try to keep him in this. The pulsar's really durable. Oh, I think I've counted Gerald out for like the 4th time now. eGGz took so much damage there, so much damage. He's still leading, but it's really starting to look like Gerald is getting into this. He got his Foundry up, as evidenced by the fact that he's got Umbra now. And we saw how that really helps against the Scorpulisks. Though I'm not sure why he's hanging out at the bottom of the ramp. Okay, he's coming back. eGGz is still streaming units. He's going to reinforce. The only difference is he's changed his point of access. Maybe it takes him a little longer to get there, but he doesn't have to worry about high ground disadvantage. Unless he voluntarily goes down. Is he trying to draw Gerald away, maybe? +1 armor for Xayid. That's the first upgrade we've seen in this game. In fairness, our players have been rather busy. And eGGz is going to add a Kasnalis Den. If past games are any indication, he's not doing that to actually make Kasnalisks. He's doing it for the range upgrade for his roamers and the speed upgrade for the Scorpulisks. Both of those really enhance the value of his units. Because you can really see how eGGz is at a bit of a tech disadvantage right now. And it's starting to play out. It didn't matter so much when eGGz could brute force it by having just that many more units. But as Gerald gradually starts to catch up, having better range, having better hit points, it's starting to add up for him. In fact, I don't think that den can finish soon enough for eGGz. Oh, Gerald's gonna head him off at the pass here. A cloaked heading off at the pass, that's pretty dirty. No more hanging out on the range for you, roamer. And he's got enough to defend his front door as well. And as soon as I make a big deal about Gerald's tech advantage, he starts making another edifice. Why do they insist on attacking my credibility? I take this personally, you two. You need to make real-time gaming decisions that are consistent with my commentary at all times. Gerald going on the offensive. He has a slight worker and army advantage right now. Last game he did not do that. He stayed back much longer and defended. I don't think eGGz would really hate having the defender's advantage for once. Especially if he can bring the regen effect of his feeding pools into play. Oh, interesting. eGGz is actually going for Scorpulisk speed even before the roamer range upgrade. That just goes to show how impactful he's found it. Gerald has decided not to attack. He's taken a third instead. He was either just faking pressure or he didn't like what he saw. But what I see is an atrium getting shaped in. If he can bring myriads or inducers into this, that's going to be a big deal. I can see the myriads really chewing up those roamers. Last game though, Gerald did prioritize the inducers, and they definitely served him well in the late game. Okay, so for the first time really since this game began, our players have stopped bashing each other's brains in. But I don't expect it to last. Scorpulus speed's gonna finish up and eGGz is making a whole bunch of Scorpulists to use it. Gerald's pulling back so he can defend. His third base is gonna be finished pretty soon and it just looks like eGGz is thinking about making a third. And that disparity is gonna put a lot of pressure on eGGz to do some damage. Oh, he wants to have his Scorpulists in front. It's an ambush. eGGz pulls back to organize. Oh, and Gerald isn't looking. His units are separated and he's getting them picked off. Some free juicy kills is exactly what eGGz needs to even this up. Even up nothing, he's quite a bit ahead on army. He's gonna see that third finish though and know he's got a job to do. If he can, he wants to focus down those hamster balls. They're doing too much damage to his Scorpulists. Oh, and energize at the third. You know that's not for harvesting. There's no harvesters there. And it works. eGGz is gonna lose this. It's gonna be a very efficient fight for Gerald. And the prize is that he's now making workers 3 at a time. You know, I feel like it wouldn't kill Gerald to throw down a little bit of static defense here. He knows he's gonna be attacked relentlessly and he knows where. But that's pros for you. They're just so reluctant to spend money on a unit they can't reposition. Instead, Gerald's gonna make an inducer. That's gonna give him a big time range advantage. This is shaping up to be a classic battle of tech versus population. We know both strategies can win. It's just a question of how much tech and how much population. Gerald's kind of built an inner wall here that he retreats to. eGGz is getting to work on his roamer range upgrade. He hasn't gone for that third. I'm starting to wonder if he's just gonna try to two-base this. If he doesn't expand at some point, he's kind of putting himself all in. We are not there yet though. The income disparity is not that huge. Oh, eGGz is gonna add in eroders now. The eroder is such a funny unit. You can't really counter it. It doesn't have any type. So nothing's particularly good against it or bad against it. Nothing really gets to bring any special damage to bear. And then it's got 200 hit points and 1 armor, which makes it fairly resilient. Of course, he hasn't actually used the eroder yet. Oh, Gerald's going for +1. +1 mechanical weapons, that is. eGGz has put down his third. I think reality sunk in for him. He's not going to drop his opponent's third anytime soon. I don't think this is the transition he wanted. I think he clearly wanted to win this early, and Gerald is held. I think we are witnessing Plan B in action here. So that's roamer range coming online right about now, and +1 ground attack is in the works as well. Gerald's looking scary. He's almost fully saturated his third, while eGGz is still looking to get his third to pop. And that is going to start translating into the income line pretty soon. So now eGGz is under a ton of pressure to try to get some damage done. Ah, and there's the eroder. You can see it really struggles to keep up with the Scorpulists who have that speed upgrade. Gerald's totally anticipating the Scorpulists. He's adding double foundry. He doesn't need it to tech. He's adding it so he can go heavy on the Umbra. Oh, I see. eGGz means to deny that fourth, which is exactly what Gerald's gonna try for. eGGz snipes the converter. I like the thought process. He'll eventually catch up if he can get on even bases. And that's why he's guarding both the 4th base locations. I just don't know if he has enough to do it. Gerald with attempt number 2. eGGz with the pounce. Is he gonna get the cancel? Gerald saves it and then pushes out with his army in anger. Oh my god, is eGGz actually gonna make this work? Attempt number 3 goes down. Right on top of the wreckage and burn scars of attempt number 2. But this time Gerald interposes his army, really taking advantage of that big inducer range. Scuffle on the right hand side. Do the Xayid have enough to bust through with the eroders? The Umbra just aren't as effective against them. eGGz is about to take back his upgrade lead. He'll have +1/+1 to Gerald's +1 mechanical weapons. eGGz moving side to side, trying to find an entry point. But the inducers are locking down the doors here. As soon as he gets close, he takes a hit, and there's just no way around that for him right now. He's got to soak it and power through. eGGz is trying to flank. Gerald's gonna retreat to the high ground. Is it gonna cost him his 4th if he does though? Once again, the cavalry's coming. This game is so close. I totally think Gerald has the cleanup now. But can eGGz get the snipe on that 4th? Gerald certainly thinks so. He goes for the cancel. And that means we're back to even bases. Our players are even on workers. And even the supply is within a hairbreadth of each other. I really do think Gerald has a tech advantage though. To match those inducers, eGGz needs his spitters, and he's probably going to need revilers for the DPS. Otherwise, I think the Keiron army is just too much on a dollar per dollar basis. No immediate signs of teching though. I wonder though, has anybody experimented with a forward feeding pool? If you build one on your opponent's side of the map, you can use it to sort of constantly heal up your units. Ooh, unfortunate. It looks like eGGz has to kill his own pool here. He actually built it too close, such that it was blocking where he wanted to put his scavenger's nest. We've all been there. Gerald showing signs of going on the offense again. He's been playing very cautious in this series, constantly consolidating his position, really only attacking when he feels he's got that upper hand. And now he feels like he has it, and this might be just the right time. eGGz is double expanding, and he's also making an avian nest. Last game, he did not have the air tech necessary to deal with the paragons. Perhaps he's made a solemn vow, if I ever get to the 13-minute mark, I'm not going to be caught without my avian nest. Oh, this is the high-quality equivalent of a zergling run-by here. It's not really the same thing because Scorpilis costs gas. 75 minerals, 25 gas. But the idea behind it is pretty similar. Gerald knocking on eGGz's doorstep for the first time here. But he's got to defend his home turf. Citadel halfway down. eGGz transitions to go after the defenders. Gerald is inside. He's going after the third. Both our players taking humongous damage, but it looks like eGGz is taking the worst of it. He just lost 30 workers in the span of a few seconds. Oh, that was a blow. eGGz actually cleared the defenders, and he's going to be able to do some return damage. But I think Gerald is going to be able to declare all your bases belongs to me. It's really just the feeding pools that are keeping eGGz in this right now. He does have the defender's advantage though, and he's making a fresh batch of Scorpilis. Gerald's materialized the second wave of defenders, and that seems to be enough to push eGGz out of his base. Oh, is eGGz gonna get the cleanup? Gerald does not appear to be reinforcing, but he's still got a tough armor. Oh, he gets the scavenger nest. The secret hatch is revealed. Both players losing a base. The consequence is more severe for eGGz because he's down to 2 bases, whereas Gerald still has a fresher third. Oh, and he is reinforcing the attack now. This is certainly chaos, but I think what's come out of this is that eGGz's income has cratered. Gerald's heading home. He's making a huge wave of Umbra. I think he's just had enough of eGGz's Scorpilisks. eGGz is not going to try to consolidate. He's going to push out and attack again. He's countering. I don't see him looking to rebuild his worker count, though. It is a hamster ball convention, a hamster ball regatta. 2 are going to stay behind to defend. That's the end of eGGz's attack. And the new offensive is at the 4th base. But I think there's just too many Umbra here. There's no detection, so every Umbra gets that free first shot. And then they just go on to do that heavy bonus damage against armor. And now eGGz doesn't have much of an army left. I think that was a big-time decisive composition win for Gerald there. Now if he can shut down eGGz's third once again, I think he's then got him on the ropes. Oh, GG, eGGz saw the writing on the wall. We're going to a game 7. After being down 2-0 and 3-1, Gerald ties up the series. It's all going to come down to one final game. Gerald has seemingly figured out how to defend eGGz's strat, but does our Xayid player risk mixing it up in what's going to be a single match for all the marbles? It's a $1,300 prize pool. It's fairly distributed with the winner taking home $400, second place $225. So this next match is essentially for $175 US. That would get me tapping my keyboard. Hit pause and grab a sandwich, get your beverage, because I want to get right to this. Adjutant, game 7, if you would please.
The game begins now.
Keiron is in the house. Game 7 sudden death match. Winner takes all. Both players have to be exhausted. Xayid coming to a theater near you. And we're gonna end this colossal series on the map Blackburn. There's that opening energize. This of course is a map where each player has a gold base not that far away. And a lot of mind games center around getting the gold. Though now that I've said that, watch this game go ahead and have nothing to do with the gold bases whatsoever. Anyway, I think it's pretty much a given that Gerald's gonna defend here. He had a rough start with that, but he's making it work. eGGz's aggression has been faltering, so he's either gonna double down on it or try something different. If I were him, I would gamble and go super greedy. I can't imagine he'd expect that, and sometimes he doesn't scout. And this game might be one of those times, as it turns out. eGGz, however, is sending out that early scout. With everything on the line, he wants to be extra cautious. He is not going for greedy play, that's for sure. He's going for double den. Quite likely keeping to that same build, we'll see him get that mutagen chamber. Yep, and there's some aggressive looking rallying points. I think he's gonna win or die on that roamer rush. The problem is, ever since Gerald started going double sanctum, he's been holding it. Maybe what eGGz wants to do is fake it and then transition into something else. Or he's just gonna say, look, I've been so close to winning in the last 2 games. And there has been points in each of those last 2 games where he came within a hair's breadth of toppling Gerald. There's that mutagen chamber. Maybe he's thinking if I can just make one slight adjustment, just micro a little bit better, I could do this. Gerald expanding. It's hard for me to love that because we've seen this play out a few times now. The Citadel finishes before the roamers arrive, so he can't cancel it. And then the roamers are on him, so he can't really use it to mine. I guess the point is it allows him to make double converters. And that's just too important to not do it. Chamber's done. Do we have roamers? I don't see roamers. But that is because I am blind. There are 2 in production. Gerald starts up that second sanctum. That's key for him, those extra charges. Gets him those extra subjectors or occasionally pulsars. I still like the pulsars because I think their durability is really important in defending these rushes. A lot of the times, Gerald's able to fight within the confines of an eGGz. And then a regenerating pulsar becomes a really tall order for a roamer to kill. Oh, look at this. There is an adjustment from eGGz. It's an offensive feeding pool. It's so offensive, it's dropping cuss words. eGGz is going to be able to use that to regenerate his roamers. It's like when Protos hides his shield battery for its zealots to fall back to. I think that's terrific, and he's taking advantage of the fact that Gerald doesn't have vision outside of his base. Oh, is that going to be a bile pit? I think that's a bile pit. Oh, it is. I think this might be all in for eGGz. He is not expanding back home. And Gerald's about to find out how much trouble he's in. He needs to snipe the worker. That's what he's got to do. He can't let this static defense go up. Oh, the pool's already regenerating. eGGz knows to focus on shooting the bolts first. The roamers are so much better at killing those. Oh, Gerald's going for the scavenger. He almost killed it, but the feeding pool kept it alive. Oh, this is insane. Gerald's gonna need to pull the mice. Does he have enough energy for an eGGz? He is shaping in 2 more subjectors. Now the roamers can retreat back, heal up at the feeding pool. Oh, he got the scavenger. He got the scavenger. The bile pit doesn't have vision up top. Gerald's able to shoot it without getting shot back. No, don't go down the ramp. He had a perfect spot. Oh, a scour. eGGz gives his bile pit vision at the top of the ramp. That's brilliant. What a synergy that is. Oh, this game just taught us something new. I love that. There's the eGGz. Gerald's gonna heal up his subjectors. Starting to feel like eGGz's window's gonna close on him. He needs a scour. He needs that scour. The bile pit's gonna get sniped. The feeding pool is still pretty good, but it's not enough. This is looking like a sick hold from Gerald. I can't imagine he's ever seen this strat before. That is veteran experience. He just adapted to the problem and solved it. Pool goes down and eGGz is supply blocked. Big time worker lead for Gerald. eGGz is way on the back foot. Does he try to expand and defend from here, or does he double down? He goes for Scorpilis speed. And speaking of Scorpilisks, Gerald is finishing up his foundry. That means the Scorpilisks are not going to be nearly as effective as eGGz is hoping. And then I do believe it gets worse. That is an atrium that Gerald is now looking to shape in. A very fast atrium. He kind of showed me in the last game. As good as I might think the Myriad is, adding in inducers really makes life hard for the Xayid. Man, I really loved eGGz's plan here. I felt like that was a great enhancement, and any given Sunday, that wins him the game. But Gerald, man, he found a way. I guess maybe next time, and there isn't a next time, eGGz would want an extra scavenger, an extra worker, so he can keep building and leapfrogging his turrets forward. Oh, eGGz does not want to meet those subjectors in the middle of the map. Oh, but clever move. Can he get around behind them? The speed upgrade's kicked in. If he can land his slow poison on all those subjectors. Oh my god, eGGz is gonna crush that army. I thought this was over, I really did. Gerald's gonna lose so much here. All of a sudden he's gonna have no army and he's overinvested in tech. Apparently Gerald's gonna need another sick hold. Okay, he does have an Umbra, that's a good start. He activates the eGGz. I think he has to pull the mice here. Great maneuvering here. The Keiron makes it really hard for the Scorpilis to get at those subjectors. And that Umbra just won't die. eGGz is completely all in. He stopped making workers. He's just streaming Scorpius to try to make this work. Another Umbra shape again. That is bad for those Scorpius. eGGz is gonna pull back. He did not get a lot of worker kills there. I don't know how Gerald's doing this, but it seems like when he's in the confines of an eGGz, he just cannot lose. eGGz pushes up the ramp. He sees he has no choice, and that's just gonna cause him to die. Oh, he GG'd out. That was his last gasp. Oh my God, Gerald came back to win the whole series. Gerald came back to win 4-3. Gerald is your Grand Scion Cup champion. And in doing so, he makes Scion history. The first ever Scion tournament with a prize pool. Pinocchio's a real boy now. And our first tournament with professionals. And this final series brought some good games with it. For me, Game 6 in particular, that one was insanely close. Congratulations to eGGz, who crushed so many people along the way in this tournament, but ultimately fell short by just one game. Gerald, who just seemed to grow and learn more as the games went on. Just a sponge-like intellect. Very impressive. Anyway, this is my longest video ever, so I'm not gonna make it longer. Hopefully somebody out there will share some thoughts in the comments section, so check out what others have to say. For me, I'm just gonna say, from my base to yours, Zugzwang out.